Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Restricted Republic. Can't thank you enough for being here. Hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving. I know we did. We got to spend time with friends and family, but during that time, there was things happening that we also had to research to provide you a recap of things that happened just before the stroke of midnight on Thanksgiving Eve, all the way through from legal proceedings to Supreme Court rulings to legal filings and what you're about to hear for weeks to come, because they truly are going to redefine our republic. And a warning, the spigot of truth has been turned on. Once you hear what I'm about to present, you can't turn back. The truth is now going to change the American consciousness forever. And hopefully it makes us a better republic when it's all said and done. We're going to cover so many states. We're going to cover Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, Pennsylvania, just to name a few. Michigan, again, legal filings, Supreme Court decisions, things that you absolutely, and I promise, unless you have a ton of time on your hands, can't get through it all. What we did is we're going to provide you a recap of all of it, breaking this into 2 segments. So make sure you get to watch the whole video, because this is information everybody absolutely needs to know. Before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to me here on YouTube, I certainly hope you will. Give this video a thumbs up, and comments are always welcome. But what you can really do is help me share the news. By sharing the video, you're helping my platform to grow here on YouTube. And also, if you haven't been over to restrictedrepublic.com yet, we're giving you 14 days now. I know you're going to have some extra time during the holidays. Take us up on this offer and see what unfiltered, uncensored news sounds like. And I promise you, it is an experience that you will never turn back from. First headline reads, election outcome unclear amid pending recounts and legal challenges. This published on the Epic Times, and you see there Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania and Georgia and Nevada and Arizona. That's right, all these states now back in play. Well, at least as far as it's considering legal challenges. You see there, Wisconsin, Milwaukee County finds 65 missing ballots in voting. Michigan, Sidney Powell files new Michigan lawsuit. We're going to cover that in great detail. Pennsylvania, witness testifies at Pennsylvania election hearings. I hope you watched the testimony with Rudy Giuliani out there in Pennsylvania. Trump even breaking into that one. It was amazing testimony to listen to say the very least. Georgia, Trump plans Georgia trip to rally for senators facing one of the biggest lawsuits, 104 pages filed by Sidney Powell. I'm going to rip you through that in part 2, point by point. Almost 30 points, blockbuster information within that lawsuit itself. Nevada judge agrees to hear evidence of alleged voter fraud, And Arizona, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Michigan are now to hold public hearings. It appears things are changing. Things are opening up. Remembering now, before we get started, that all these are pending lawsuits. Decisions have yet to be reached. We are simply presenting you the facts of that information so that you can determine which one you want to research further and which is of the most interest, because there is so many of these lawsuits. Here's just one of the cover pages that we're going to have to go through, and this is involving Nevada. Twitter, Josh Gerstein, just in. Carson City, Nevada judge hearing election challenge filed by Trump electors have set a hearing for December 3rd at 1:30 p.m. local time. Will allow 15 depositions from each side now, and then attorney is Sidney Powell. And we'll go further into Banal, who's the second attorney, who has said that part of the challenge is over the use of the scanner and signature matches. That's what they're going after in this lawsuit. It is important for sure, but it is by far from the main meat of our challenge, he states. We could see fight over secrecy relating to witnesses. Banal said he wants a protective order because of threats he's receiving. But idea that a presidential election challenge will be resolved based on secret testimony seems highly implausible. List of challenger witnesses due by 5 p.m. today, by the way. Mark Meadows commenting, speaking up on this one. Big news in Nevada, judges allowed Nevada Republicans to present findings of widespread voter fraud in a December 3rd hearing. All eyes in that case on Nevada, but of course not the only suit that's been filed. And this one isn't the Sidney Powell suit, by the way, because everybody's talking about the Georgia Sidney Powell, 104 pages we're going to cover in part 2. This is a whole separate Filing. The expert analysis of government data showing that the number of illegal votes counted and legal votes not counted is greater than 200,000, vastly exceeding the 12,670 vote margin in the presidential election contest. This is the Amistad Project, which you see here. Carrie Sheffield on her Twitter page. Breaking. The Amistad Project today filed lawsuit contesting Georgia results, citing expert opinion. That, again, goes to that 100,000, as they're claiming illegal votes were improperly counted, while tens of thousands of legal votes were not counted. I know not many people have heard of this portion, this lawsuit. It's ramping up at super speed pace right now. But now let's get on to larger Constitution supporting events. This on the New York Times. Midnight ruling exposes rifts at a Supreme Court transformed by Trump. The justices issued 6 opinions, several of them unusually bitter, in upholding challenges from churches and synagogues to state pandemic restrictions on religious services. The title should have simply read that Governor Cuomo was overruled by the Supreme Court. But of course, what does he call it? Well, we'll let you hear it for yourself.
It's irrelevant from any practical impact because the zone that they were talking about has already been moot. It expired last week. So I think this was really just an opportunity for the court to express its philosophy and politics.
You heard that correctly. Cuomo knows better than the Supreme Court of the United States, who issued an order temporarily blocking him from setting coronavirus capacity limits at houses of worship, calling it irrelevant and moot because it expired prior to this ruling, which he knew was out there for many, many weeks and I think months now, actually. But I digress for a moment because that's not all that happened. You also heard about the pardon of Michael Flynn being announced on this tweet. Specifically, it is my great honor to announce that General Michael Flynn has been granted a full pardon. Congratulations to General Flynn and his wonderful family. I know you will now have a truly fantastic Thanksgiving. But of course, that set in motion a series of tweets that there's no way you can miss. I'm going to go full screen so you can just see how Hollywood reacted to the decision. We're not even going to go into how some Congress folks and senators reacted to the decision. We'll just let that go, Adam Schiff. But first, Rob Reiner. A criminal pardons another criminal who committed federal crimes to protect the other criminal from his federal crimes. Patricia Arquette. He just pardoned a man who admitted he lied under oath in an investigation into Russian attacking America in 2016. Stephen King. The crook pardoned the crook. No surprise here. There's a few tweets I couldn't show you, by the way, because they wouldn't be allowed on the first platform I'm airing the first half of this video on. Larry Charles from Seinfeld, as most of you will recognize that name. The pardon of Michael Flynn is a painful reminder of the Democrats' failure, despite abundant evidence to prove Trump's treason. But it's also a useful reminder of Trump and Flynn's treason. Not to be left behind, Rosie Perez. WTF, regardless of party, if you believe and care about the United States of America, a nation who's supposed to be 100% against abuse of power, this should make you very blanking angry, sick to your stomach. How could any American accept? Well, of course, if Rosie Perez studied, she would know that that's absolutely not an abuse of power. It's well within the president's rights, but why study how U.S. politics works? I mean, it's so irrelevant. But now we're going to go to Lynn Wood. We have just begun to filing this emergency motion that states it's critically important for the appellate's claims to be heard before December 14th of 2020. Safe harbor under Georgia Code, certifying its presidential electors, which is only 21 days, asking for that to be rushed. And within just a few hours, actually, the 11th Circuit granted Lynn Wood's motion for expediting the review of a lawsuit challenging validity of the Georgia election procedure. A lot of moving parts, a lot to keep up with. Pennsylvania judge also blocked the state from certifying election results into presidential and all other races. This all occurring in such a short span of time. It's why we wanted to recap that as fast as possible. Jenna Ellis, president's attorney, coming out. New Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Michigan legislatures to hold public hearings on the 2020 election. It appears a lot of people in Thanksgiving really didn't take any time off, did they? Well, it appears there's more and more mounting evidence that people want presented to the court. This is Michigan filing. Exhibit 105, which we're going to go a little bit deeper into later in this broadcast because, again, you just have to understand one portion of this filing in Michigan. Iranian Advanced Persistence Threat Actor. I'm going to go full screen, a little bit easier to read. Threat actor identified obtaining voter registration data that was authored by the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency with a product ID given there on a specific date of October 30th of 2020. CISA and FBI reports that Iranian APT teams were seen using a website scanning software to find vulnerabilities within election company websites confirmed to be used by Iranian APT teams to buy seized cloud storage that I had personally captured and reported to higher authorities. These scanning behaviors show that foreign agents of aggressor nations, had access to U.S. voter lists and had done so recently. Rogue actors, right down here, by rogue actors such as Iran and China, and you'll see right above who they're citing, they had access and evidence into which systems. This is just the beginning of, as all these lawsuits are blowing up everywhere, the Kraken came down to Georgia on this Thanksgiving. I think they stole my line from my last video, right? Of course they did. The Kraken came down to Georgia on this Thanksgiving Eve in the form of a 104-page bombshell complaint. That bombshell complaint, which we're about to transition into now, a complaint that you really need to understand every single detail. We're going to go through, well, about 30 of them. But that's an update of all the proceedings, everything that happened. And we didn't even cover the Rudy Giuliani, Pennsylvania, which if you didn't get to hear the testimony there, you most certainly need to hear it now. But this is probably going to be, I'm warning all of you, at least 20 to 30 minutes, even with me talking as fast as I can, because the information is absolutely paramount. Because what you've just heard, what you've just witnessed, is an absolute fundamental change and shift in our entire republic, something that can't simply be ignored. There is now so much evidence, a preponderance of evidence, that it absolutely has to be reviewed. Of course, we have to remember that all this is just entering into the court system. So far, we've been met with very limited results in any of the courts. So it will be up for them and the state legislatures to decide the next step. Will they allow those electors to certify the election, or will they step in and ask for potentially a recount, to have those votes thrown out, to have certain votes thrown out? These are all things that are requested by Powell and Giuliani, depending on the case. Details that we're going to be disclosing here for, I'm confident, weeks to come, but it's about to go into absolute fast forward. So again, if you haven't subscribed to me here on YouTube, well, that was not easy for me to say. If you haven't subscribed to me here on YouTube, let's try that again. I certainly hope you will. Make sure your bell is checked. And now if you want to see the full detailed set of information going into greater detail of what's occurring, get over to Restricted Republic. 14 days right now. I will recap it all for you in one fell swoop, because trust me, not many people have the time to rip through all this information. Make sure you help me share the video. And until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.